Alright, welcome to TDN Live Week 6 matchups. Let's just get right into it here. Game number 1, we got the Mean Green going up against the Danville Destroyers. Mean Green, unfortunately, Peyton Manning has the bye week this week, but I don't think that's going to matter. Patrick Willis is also off, but I don't think that's going to matter. Mean Green's going to prevail in this one, ladies and gentlemen, because he's got Westbrook and Jackson going up against Oakland Raiders in a scrimmage game today at 4 o'clock. So the bottom line is, I think both of those guys are going to have great games. Deshaun Jackson will be matched up against Chris Johnson, not Nnamdi Asomugha, so look for him to have a big game. We got BTK at True Player. Sees Drew Brees in this game going up against the tough Giants defense in a very good game, actually the game of the week in the NFL. BTK got Aaron Rodgers going up against the Lions. I think I'd take Rodgers in this matchup. He also has no Sean in a good matchup. So BTK, I believe, will prevail over True Player. HBK versus the Kirkwood K Killers. I don't like the Adrian Peterson matchup against the tough Baltimore defense. I think that's going to be a really close game. Actually, Minnesota's probably the toughest game this year. So I don't like that matchup, although he does have Anquan Bolden and Roddy White, which I do like those matchups. Heartbreak Kid, he's got Macklin in there. He had a great game last week. I mean, I know Philly's going to spread the ball around, but he is going to be matched up on Nnamdi Asomugha on the right side. So that's going to be kind of tough for him to get the numbers. Torrey Holt hasn't really been anything this year, so I don't think he's going to really do anything. So I look for Kirkwood K Killers to take the win here. The Greensboro Gold members going up against the NC Coastal Red Riders, who is in first place in the league. Brady, loving the matchup with Brady against Tennessee. They got a depleted secondary, so I like that matchup. I think Moss and Welker are going to have their way, even though they're listed as questionable in Watch for Fantasy now. They're listed as questionable, but they say in their will play. So look for New England to have a good game there. I do like Matt Schaub and the Houston Texans going up against Cincinnati. I think that's going to be a really good game. See two nice quarterback wide receiver matchups in Carson Palmer to Ocho Cinco and Matt Schaub to Andre Johnson. Both of those tandems have been putting up good fantasy numbers. But in all reality, I think John gets the push with Clinton Portis going up against Kansas City. They haven't really been proven to stop anyone. So I do believe I'm going to have to take the Red Riders. Game, Austin Cowboys versus Saw Dogs. I like Kurt Warner in this matchup going up against Seattle. But I also I'm loving Maurice Jones-Drew going up against St. Louis. It's a really good matchup for him. I also like Randy Moss, like I said, going up against a depleted Tennessee secondary. Hoosh Manzada also liking this game going up against Arizona. I think Arizona and Seattle is going to be a shootout. So I look at this to be a very kind of high-scoring game. Also like Brandon Marshall and his matchup. Talib at the corner, I think is going to, Philly's going to be throwing the ball. Looking for Deshaun Jackson, I think he's going to be busy over there. Dawkins, I think, is going to have a good game. So I look at this as a close game between the two. Eli against the Saints. I don't know if that's going to be a shootout. I think that's going to be more of a run kind of thing for the Giants. I think in order to really be effective, they're going to have to run the ball as opposed to pass. So it's going to be a real close game. But I think ultimately Maurice Jones-Drew beasts this week and Saw Dogs prevail. Heavy Metal at BJP. I think this is going to be another close game. I like the Rashard Mendenhall matchup against Cleveland. Mark Baldwin in the starting lineup. He's definitely going to throw the ball a lot. They're going to be down, so that's definitely a decent start. I don't think he's going to do anything special. I like Lee Evans in this game. I think Buffalo's going to have to be coming from behind and throwing the ball a lot. And T.O.'s obviously not getting any looks. I think ultimately BJP is going to prevail in this one. I like also Antonio Gates, the matchup in that one. So yeah, BJP over Colorado Heavy Metal. Next up, G-Men and the Crush. In this game, Crush has got D-Mac going up against Oakland. Look for him to beast like no other, at least 3 touchdowns. Phillip Rivers in a close game. Also like Marcus Colston. I think he's going to get a lot of touches in that Saints game. Loving Brent Selleck as well. I think against, yet again, at Philly against Oakland. Anybody who's got any Philly players, get them in there. They're going to be lighting it up. Philly's going to murder Oakland. So ultimately, I see the crush prevailing over the G. San Saba versus the Bears. I like Carson Palmer Ocho Cinco matchup in the game against Houston. I think that's it's going to be a really good game there. I do like Jay Cutler. Carson Palmer, Jay Cutler. Actually, the push is even. They're both projected at 24 points. So I think it's going to be close. Manningham and Bo, not really feeling those guys at wide receiver. I think Nix and Smith are going to get more looks than Manningham. I do like Matt Forte as well. I think he's going to have a really good game. I think in order for the Bears to get anything going against Atlanta, they're going to have to run the ball effectively. So I look for the Bears to win this one. All right, real quick, Beasters and Sleepers. At the quarterback position, D-Mac's going to go off. 40-plus points, I believe, maybe even 53 touchdowns. Running back, Maurice Jones-Drew, going to have a great day against the Rams. Look for him to go over 100 yards, a couple scores. Wide receiver, San Antonio Holmes against Cleveland Browns. I think is going to have a big game, 100 yards and a touchdown. Chris Cooley, tight end, against KC. KC's giving up most fantasy points, 2 tight ends. Look for Cooley to have a big day. Linebacker, Thomas Howard, I think is going to have a day just being busy, running around, chasing Eagles all over the place. He's typically Oakland's most effective defensive player. Look for him to have a big day. Defensive line, Trent Cole up against Oakland, whose offensive line is crap. Oakland is just horrible. Like I said, if you got Eagles, get him in there. I think he comes up with a sack, a couple tackles, maybe 2 sacks. Cornerback, Charles Woodson against Detroit. Detroit's going to be behind. I think they're going to have to throw the ball. So therefore, Woodson is going to get a lot of looks. Safety, Chris Hope versus New England. I think he's going to rack up some tackles. Moss and Welker coming across the middle. Him up in the box. He's going to have to make plays. Look for him to have a big game. Kicker, David Akers. Yet again, another Eagle going against Oakland. Eagles are going to put up points. Therefore, Akers is going to get some field goals and some extra points. Look for him to have at least maybe 10 points, something like that. Special teams got the Browns going up against Pittsburgh, which essentially there's going to be a lot of kick returns. There's going to be a lot of punt returns. Also look for Oakland special teams to have a big day, only because they're going to be touching the ball a lot because the Eagles are going to be scoring on them. Next up, sleepers. If you need somebody to plug in there, here's your sleepers out on the waiver wire that could plug in and have decent games. Quarterback, Culpepper against Green Bay. I only believe that Detroit's going to be down, so they're going to be throwing the ball. So Dante Culpepper, good pickup for a quarterback if you need one on the waiver wire. Running back, Cadillac Williams against Carolina. Going to be a close game, I think. Both teams kind of struggling. I do think Carolina's going to win this one, but I think in order for Tampa to get things going, they're going to have to run the ball. So look for Cadillac Williams. Wide receiver Chris Henry from Cincinnati. I think that that's going to be a big pass-heavy game. I think that he could be a guy that you could pick up. Also look for Antoine Randall L. going up against KC. KC, I think, 29th against the pass. He'd be another good plug-and-play guy from Washington Redskins. Tight end Chris Baker going up against Tennessee. Tennessee's just really hurting on defense right now, not being able to really shut anybody down. So look for him as a pickup guy. Linebacker, I got Ben Lieber going up against Baltimore. I think they're going to run the ball. It's going to be a tight game. Look for him to make some tackles. Also look for Vrabel going up against Washington. I think Washington's going to be running the ball a lot. They're going to get him early on KC, even though it's going to be a close game. Look for Vrabel also as a pickup. Defensive line pickup, Darren Howard, once again, Philadelphia against Oakland. Cornerback pickup, Sheldon Brown, once again, Philadelphia against. You see a pattern developing here? I think the Birds are going to win today. Anywho, safety, Kerry Rhodes going up against Buffalo Jets. I think Buffalo's going to be down on the Jets, and they're going to have to pass. Kicker out there, I got Sean Sweesom, Washington. I don't know if Washington's going to score that many touchdowns, so it might come down to field goals and winning the game. Look to pick him up. And special teams, there's only 2 options. Giants are out there, and the other team has a bye, so it's actually the Colts. So, Giants, special teams. There's your Beasters and Sleepers of the week.